I want to share one of my favorite tools to use in change management, and really just when you have a lot on your plate that you need to adapt and navigate at any point in time. And I'm going to use the example in this video of meetings. So you know by now, if you've been following my channel, that meetings is my pet peeve, dysfunctional meetings, because it's the number one waste that I see with clients. And we're always struggling to gain more time. We're trying to move things forward while keeping our operational running and fighting fires. And the number one noise item is meetings. So I'm going to use that example as we work through this tool. So the tool is called PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. And why I love this is it's that simple. Plan, Do, Check, Act. And through this process of continuous improvement, you can navigate change and still adapt. You can commit to an end destination, but you can achieve it in a few different ways, and that's going to build agile teams. That's going to build adaptability through practicing those type of behaviors. So through these small little test changes, you can check results, you can pivot, you can come back, you can adjust towards larger initiatives and projects without losing momentum. Sometimes we take on such a big task and then it doesn't go well, and we just feel like failures. We feel like we weren't set up for success. We didn't have the right tools, the right resources, time. And so then we don't want to keep going on this journey, right? No one wants to keep going on a long journey when their socks and hiking boots are just a muddy mess and they're wet and they're out of food and water, right? It puts you in a helplessness state. Like, why try? Why keep going on this trail? So when you do bite-sized moments and you check results and then you adapt and then you go back to the trail, you're not sitting there with soggy wet socks, right? You're pivoting moments so that we can successfully hit the mark. It kind of gets rid of this mentality of ignorance. Like, if you go into a large project and you think nothing's gonna go wrong, you're playing kind of ignorant and you're going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to create your own stress. So this is small little bite-sized moments in which you can pivot all the way to the ending. So let's go through the 4, and I'm going to use that meeting example because that is kind of a big behavior to change, a big operational change, and how we could apply the PDCA tool towards that change. So the first one is plan. Define the objective. Define the purpose of this. All right? People are driven by purpose and they will naturally move. You don't have to push them to change their behaviors when there's a purposeful action in which they know the objective that they're going to achieve helps them gain more productivity, helps them gain more time in their day, helps them de-stress. So meetings, for example, is the biggest time waster and everyone knows it. Use that, right? Use that dysfunction and call it out. Be very honest and candid about what's going on in your organization. And the more you can do that, the more buy-in you're going to get. So define the objective. The objective is, for this example, is let's reduce meeting times in our work week by 25%. All right, so we want 25% less meetings because everyone's just bogged down by meetings. And this will help us gain more time for productivity. It doesn't mean adding more. Let me clarify that. Just because we're reducing meetings by 25% doesn't mean you overload people by 25%. It means they can get into deep work. They can actually learn the systems that they're using. They can work on automation and integration type activities. They can actually figure out their new team member that's joined 6 months ago and they don't even know their name. We're not overloading people. We're optimizing productivity. So the first one is plan. What is the objective? What is the purpose of this? And then start gathering data on why and what you want to get to. So in this meeting example, we want to reduce meeting time that people are spending in rooms, not actually doing things, right? They're just talking or distracting or creating noise activities. We're going to reduce that by 25%. So have a good starting data point of what's in people's schedules per department is a really good way to do that because it's a good collection of data. So we want to reduce it by 25%. That's plan. The second one is do. So implement at a small scale, right? Small change right now. And so, for example, in the meeting one, we're going to implement agendas, which means we have an objective for the meeting and the purpose. We have time slots of the topics we want to talk to so that we kind of stay on time. We have action owners of who's bringing what to the meeting. we have maybe even a facilitator, and that facilitator is being trained. Huge game changer when facilitators of meetings are trained, because they can address conflict, they can reroute it to healthy conversations, they can stay on time with still honoring people's voices. Train your facilitators of meeting, it makes a huge difference. And in this point of do, right, so we're doing an agenda now. You're going to monitor some of the data points. You're going to observe and collect feedback from some of the meeting attendees. And this can be done just in like a minute at the end of your meeting. So it can be, let's rate our meeting from 1 to 3. 1 being, we didn't stay on time, we weren't on agenda, we weren't on topic, there's no action owners, I have no idea what we just did the last hour. 2 is like, there's parts of the meeting that went really well, we got us slightly off track, and now by the end of the meeting, we were able to achieve the outcome. And then 3 is your stellar meeting. It means everyone attended, everyone was prepped, you got a lot done in the meeting, there's action owners and follow-up after, bam, that's the all-star meeting. So in this do section, I want you to start collecting data and feedback, because the next thing that we're going to do is a check. We're going to check that feedback, we're going to check the data, we're going to analyze some of these results and watch for gaps, watch for pivot points, and things that we need to adapt, things that we need to improve, things that we take that feedback and can make it better. So this is where we move out of this like victim and villain mode, and we move into the creator, we move into the challenger of making things better. Do you see where the energy starts shifting up, right? Because we're not pushing people to do this. We're doing it together, we're gathering feedback, and we're adapting. You're not going to satisfy everyone. We already know that. But the collective data of what's going on will allow us to adapt so we can keep on this journey without being stuck in the mud with the soggy socks. So we planned, we acted on the do, we checked it, right? We're starting to see where we need to pivot, close those gaps, get the feedback. Now let's act again. So this means we're going to be adapting to adjust. We're going to discard what's not working, right? And we're moving forward. So maybe you started with an agenda in Microsoft Word or even hard copy paper, and now you're moving to an Excel where everyone can see it, but only a few editors in it. Now maybe you're moving it into your software, your operational software. And head out to some of the other videos. I'll link one at the end of here about streamlining your meetings right into your software. So in the meeting, you're already in the software and you're not duplicating efforts after the meeting. This means that once you start fine-tuning this and it's being successful and the data is proving that we are reducing our meeting times 25% and we're gaining more productivity because we're optimizing our time, now you start spreading that out to other meetings. Do you see how we did it bite-sized? We didn't apply agendas in this giant initiative to all meetings at once. We took one, we figured out what's working in our operation with all the behaviors that are in this room, we pivoted, we adapted, and now we can roll it out to all the rest of the operation. And again, you can just do maybe 1 or 2 more meetings, do the PDCA again, roll it out to more meetings, PDCA, because every meeting might be just a little bit different. And then you don't have to stop there. You can keep doing this practice as your meetings evolve, as topics change, as new people come into the room. And this type of change management tool doesn't get exhausting because it's bite-sized, right? It's small little bits of change. But when you want to do a big initiative, like reduce meetings by 25%, but then the next year it didn't work, or maybe it worked really well and you want to do this initiative, and then you want to do this, it's just so much overhaul over and over again. So by applying the PDCA principles, you're doing bite-sized moments of plan. You're kind of starting the execution of it, do. You're checking and analyzing the results and getting feedback, check. And then you're acting on that to expand out further into your operation. So try out this tool. I found it very helpful to start some of these bigger initiatives, a little bit more smaller goal so that you can hit the mark, maintain the energy of the group, and lead the change.